Good evening, Canby. Welcome to the Canby City Council regular meeting scheduled for the 3rd of August, 2016. If you'll please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Jill, I thank you so much for the leaders here on the dais and as well here in the community and those at home. Please watch over our city, guide us with wisdom, and that we do the best that we can with what we have. We thank you for all that you provide for us. We lift up those that are still dealing with tragedies across our country, and that you lift them up and provide them with hope and love. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We have next on the agenda is a presentation by Friends of the Canby Public Library. Hello, Miss Ayers. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
And what a pleasure it is to be here this evening.
Glad you could be here.
I've left a little packet at each of your desks there, but I'd like to give you a little bit of background on Friends of the Canby Public Library. As you may or may not know, the Friends were originally incorporated in 1998, and we are a 501c3 organization with the tax-exempt status, being able to give tax-deductible receipts to all of our benefactors. The IRS really likes us, and they like you when you give. All of our donors do receive a tax-deductible receipt. Our current board was installed pretty much all at one time in February of 2013, and we honor the stewardship of the prior board and certainly the carryover funds that they left for us to work with, which will be part of the donation tonight. We're continuing the hard work with this current 10-member board. We have an annual membership which we hope everybody is part of. That's not necessarily the case, but we wish it would be. It's really expensive to be a member of the Friends. It costs $25 for a family, $5 for students who want to join on their own, and if you're a senior, it's $10 each. So we really encourage everybody to become a member of the Friends because those funds go back into supporting the library programs. We also do the book sales within the library in what we call the Book Garden, and our 4th of July sale, and we're gearing up for our 3rd annual Christmas Tour of Homes. Each of those is the fundraiser, and you'll be seeing some of the benefits of those efforts this evening. We rely on community donations throughout the year and special efforts this year for specific areas of the new library. And currently in the library, patrons can buy little books, and they're little sheets of paper. You see them everywhere in the grocery stores when they're having a fundraiser for somebody. It is a little picture of a book that you can either contribute $1, $5, or $10, and then your little book goes up on the wall, and each of those donations goes into the pot that ends up going back into the services of the library. You'll recall that I was here on June 15th with the Canby Rotary Foundation, and we at that time presented a check for $30,000 for the teen program within the new library. Tonight we're going to be adding on to the wonderful news. And as additional donations come in, they will be directed to the new library. Each year, the Friends of the Library fund the programs that are offered in the library. Our support for the 2015-16 fiscal year was $14,328.03. And other than the state-sponsored Ready to Read program, we are the only financial support for the library programs for adults, teens, and children. We have committed to support the 2016-17 fiscal year programs to the tune of $15,883. A copy of that commitment is in with the packet that you would have in front of you. The donation that we're making tonight comes from nickel, dime, quarter, and dollar donations in the donation jar at the library and at our 4th of July book sale. Members of the community and of this Friends of the Library Board, such as Hazel Wagner, and in the memory of Rosemary Cole by her son, David Cole, Sherry McGinnis Kennemer and Representative Bill Kennemer, former Canby librarian Melissa Kelly, Library Board and Friends Board member Linda Warwick and John Warwick. Linda is also the manager of the Book Garden. Canby Lions Club, the Meadows Residents Council, Bert and Linda Batty, Joe Driggers, our current librarian, Irene Green and Jamie Clifton, and so many more whose names are included again in the documents that you have in front of you. I will tell you that the smallest donation we have received is $15, and the largest, other than the $30,000 Canby Rotary Foundation, is $2,500. It takes a lot of the smaller donations to make this big donation possible. You may be wondering why we do this. We care about our community, the thrill we get out of walking into any library and seeing the discovery, friendship, and learning that goes on there, and then to see our library in our community becoming a gathering space for our young people, our working parents with their kids, and toddlers coming to story time, and the more mature members of our community continuing to experience the joy, excitement, intrigue, and knowledge to be gotten within the books and other materials that line the shelves. Now we get down to the numbers. Today's donation is dedicated to, first of all, the information desk, which would be a focal point in the new library. We are dedicating $18,283.32 to that desk. For the shelving within the Friends Book Garden bookstore, $9,112.93. The Children's Library, $2,050.70. The Teen Area Electronics, $2,350. Now, there's going to be more shelving put in the new library other than just what we're paying for our little book garden. But in order to really show off those new shelves, we are dedicating $12,867.51 towards the new collection, plus another $500 to go to the children's books. Now, that's a lot of books and a lot of tickets sold and a lot of community members dropping their change in the donation box and checks written because the library, our library, is loved, appreciated, and cherished by the more than 8,000 people each month who walk through the doors. Mr. Mayor and councilors, between 1895 and 1937, a number of citizen groups made efforts to have a library in the city of Canby. The city of Canby made it official by having opened the first City Library on September 16, 1937, in this very room, in what was then the brand-new City Hall. Since 1937, the library has grown, just as our community has grown. Now, as we get ready to move into a community-supported new library and City Hall building, the Friends of Canby Public Library asked that a proclamation be made that appoints September 16th from this year forward as Canby Public Library Day. Thank you for your consideration of this request, Mr. Mayor and Council. I really hope you do that. And now, I would like to present to you a check for $44,351.14. It's a lot of work by a lot of people.
Thank you. I can't, again, express my gratitude to you, the Friends of the Library, and everything that you guys have done.
Well, just keep supporting us.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take some pictures. I'd like to, not all of our board is here this evening, but there are several members who can join us.
Yes, please. You've worked so very hard, all of you, and this is incredible. This is really huge again. Thank you.
Joyce, can I join you?
Council, come on down. I'll take pictures.
I was on the board once. Yes.
Scoot up here, you guys.
You're never bored, are you?
Yeah.
To help.
Joyce.
Joyce?
Joyce in the front, third one.
Which Joyce?
Joyce. Joyce in the back.
Irene, you need to get in the picture.
I know.
Come on.
You'll be happy to know that our board has two Joyces, two Kathys, one Susan, and a Linda. I'll let everyone.
Good one. Thank you.
Now then.
I'm going to address it here in the mayor reports, and I think exciting news, or maybe Rick can as well, about the progress of where we're at with the library. But as the shell of the library has taken shape and we see what's going on, and there's still, it's amazing to me that I still get asked, you know, what are you building downtown? How many people still don't know that we are building this incredible space for our community? And, you know, so to bring the whole thing together has taken a great number of people, and as Joyce articulated in her report there, we've had Rotary involvement, we've had Canby Telecom, we've had countless other donations, and now, you know, the Friends of the Library, you know, twice orchestrating major contributions to this project. So thank you all so very, very much for believing in this project and for supporting it and believing in our library. This could not happen without your guys' help and support. So thank you for all that you have done and continue to do every day. So thank you very much. Anything, councilors?
I was going to point out that tonight we received on our internal email, and we're going to be distributing this out publicly, but we do have the grand opening for the library on Saturday. It says October 15th.
Yes.
Is it October or September?
October. I'll fill you in on.
Okay.
That's why. Okay.
Literally,
Yeah.
I'll let Rick finish the sentence.
Yes, please.
Right. And I wanted to say thanks to Joyce for her leadership and the Friends Board for how strong you guys have become in the last 3 years. You've weathered a lot of ups and downs, and I really have to hand it to you for regrouping, turning the other cheek, and just going forth full force and doing such a great job reaching out to the community, finding so much support beyond this group to support this new project, which wasn't originally how we'd conceived it, but yay, this is really exciting. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your having been on our board to begin with.
Yeah.
We miss you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you guys very, very much. Was there a stack of, I see yellow cards coming?
Right over here.
Thank you. Communications at this point, Rick?
Maybe I can provide just a little background on the revised ribbon cutting and grand opening. We had originally targeted September 16th so we could be in lockstep with the original opening of the original library in 1937. And we learned over the last few days that was a little bit ambitious, and that while we could probably finish the building by then, we wouldn't be able to get everything and everybody moved, get all the equipment set up, get the phones working, get the computers working, and there were just too many loose ends to make it a practical date to make as a move-in date and a celebration. And the October 15th date turns out to be a really good one because it also gives us an opportunity for library staff to operate for about a week in a soft opening. We get to know the library better, and we'll be doing the same thing upstairs, get to know the library better, the facility better, get the bugs out, make sure that our IT services are working properly, and that we can meet the needs of our customers. And that will just give us that much better grand opening ceremony on October 15th. And we gave it our best shot. We just couldn't put all of the pieces together. I think on another note, it's pretty extraordinary to even be opening it as early as October 15th. We're very confident in that date.
Well, thanks for that update. It's saw our calendar, and I was tracking September, so I will adjust and have a much more fall-like opening than in October.
We're counting on good, beautiful, can-be fall weather.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you for that, Rick. Any other pieces right now?
No, they're all covered later.
Okay. First opportunity this evening for citizen input and community announcements. This is a time for any thoughts or announcements that are made that are not on non-agenda items. I have a number of yellow cards, but I think that is part of an agenda item that we have this evening for the business license piece. So if there's anyone else that has some non-agenda items that they want to address or talk about? Okay, we will move on into mayor's business. A couple things this evening. We had a work session to discuss future UGB expansion and land use pieces. It was very much kind of a 30,000-foot level preliminary kind of beginning conversation about looking at our urban growth boundaries, some of the pieces inside of it. We look at density and growth for the city, and it's really that kind of 20-year projection. So there'll be more to come on that, but it was a very productive work session. So Rick, thank you to you and staff for getting our wheels spinning and the conversation going on that. So thank you. As Rick mentioned, October 15th will be the library grand opening for the city of Canby. So mark your calendars for that. Coming up on September 10th is the Canby Cares event. Pass these out for you guys to add to your calendars if you can make an appearance or help out. It's Saturday, September 10th. It's dental care, vision, medical checkups, youth heart screenings, haircuts for those in our community that might need it. It's a free event at Canby Foursquare, September 10th from 10 to 3. So if you're available and can come volunteer, that would be great. Piece for the council, the League of Oregon Cities Conference. Scheduling is going on right now. I think the early deadline is this Friday. Do we have anyone signed up yet? One, and that is perfect. Anyone else planning on attending?
What date?
September 30th, 29th, I think,
It's
through...
end of September-ish, yeah, the end of the month.
29th, 30th.
So if you've already signed up or looking to sign up, I thought maybe we could coordinate who's going where and maybe maximize our efforts on covering as much as we can with different work sessions and tours and whatnot. So, once you figure that out, please email me. I know the early registration deadline is Friday.
Yes, so please,
So-
if you want to attend, send me your registration form because there's classes that you need to pick out, and I will get you registered
Yes, so by noon on Friday.
on Friday.
Yes. So thank you for that. Had a great conversation, a little economic development conversation with Rick Renata Mengelberg, our economic development, our head of economic development, and with the chamber. We're just looking at some marketing and promotion pieces for Canby. We have had quite a turnover. Well, we're seeing a number of homes and residents turnover in Canby over the last, I would say, 12 to 16 or 12 to 18 months. So we're just kind of talking about how do we get in the hands of our new residents just some of the things that go on in Canby. So we're talking about some outreach pieces on that. And then do we have some opportunity for advertising outside of Canby to drive people into our events? So is there opportunities in Wilsonville or Charbonneau or whatever to kind of drive those pieces? So it was a really great conversation on that, as well as looking at how do we, is there a way to leverage social media? I know part of that's a staffing piece. We don't have a person dedicated for that, but there's, is there a way, other ways that we can do that? So I'll get you more on that as that develops. Also had a conversation with Rick and our planning director, Brian Brown, about housing. We discussed ADUs, so that's additional dwelling units. There was a big what to do in Portland about it, and there's another one coming in September. That's a big piece to Portland's density measures. So we were having a conversation about that in terms of, is that something that's viable in Canby? How do we do it? Do we want to do it? So that will be conversation probably further out here, either towards the end of the year or the beginning of next year, calendar year. Looking at, do we need to look at smaller lot development, which is kind of our conversation, our work session this evening. Planned urban developments, that's generally much more concise and targeted in terms of that. So is that something? One of the things in the next action step that we looked at that will be was having maybe a discussion with builders and realtors in the area that have done construction here in town, and what are the trends, what are they seeing, do ADUs make sense for Canby, do smaller developments make sense, is that a vision that we want to see for our community, so more to come on that, but just to make everyone aware on that. I want to thank the Chamber for a great golf tournament. The four of us on this end of the table, well, I attempted to play golf. It was more like, whack-a-mole than anything else. So thankfully we had Todd, who, are you professional or semi-pro?
Whatever.
Kept us out of the bottom because I think last year you and I...
We won.
We did win.
Highest score.
Highest score, that is correct. Those of you that are not golfers, that's not a good thing. So it was a great golf tournament. We had fun on that one. The Clackamas County Coordinating Committee that I co-chair is tomorrow, so I have nothing on that. We had a great visit, actually when I was meeting with I think it was Rick and Mallory and Renata. We had a group of Japanese exchange students from our sister city were here in town, and they were on a tour of Canby and came by City Hall, and we got to give them a quick, brief tour of the old building. It was very brief, and they came bearing chocolates from Japan. So, yes, before we leave tonight, we'll open it up and partake in some chocolate.
You are going to share. Good.
I'm giving. I can share. Oh, you're making sure. All right, good to know. So it was a really nice visit. Great group of students, and thank you to the host families that hosted those students while they were here. And then last piece for me, two more. Canby's big weekend is coming up. The end of August. We've got Cammy's Big Night Out, which is the big what to do downtown on Friday night. And then Saturday is the car show, Dahlia Festival, Dahlia Run, quilt show. There's a whole bunch. Farmers Market is relocating to downtown. So that'll be over here, get my bearings, right out over here. So in a couple of weeks. So that'll be fantastic on that. And finally, Kim, the proclamation at the library for the library. Can we add that to the list of proclamations that we do? Fantastic. Thank you. That concludes what I have, and we'll start with Councilor Rocha.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have too much. The Canby Fire Board had a pretty short meeting as they were going to executive session, so my other meetings actually start this next month. We'd like to thank the Chamber as well for the golf tournament. I only cursed once, so it was a good day. So we had a lot of fun. Anyway, and that was at Greg, so he missed a 40-foot putt, and that was upsetting.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Well, yeah, I'd like to thank the Chamber for inviting me. And seriously, it was interesting to see how pleased the other participants were that the city had representation there. You know, the number of people came by and said thanks for showing up. So I thought that was a worthwhile afternoon of getting to see some folks that normally I wouldn't get to see. Our Bike and Ped Committee has been busy bicycling. We haven't had meetings this summer, but we'll be kicking in again next month. And then the Historic is slated, I see, for new business, so I guess Rick will be talking about that, but something very exciting coming up for First Friday, and want to have a lot of publicity on that. And that's all for me this time.
Great. Thank you, Councilor. Council President Dale.
Likewise, my thanks to Mallory and the Chamber for inviting me along for entertainment purposes to the golf tournament. That cart did much better than our cart.
That is true.
Yeah. And we have not had a Canby Utility Board meeting since our last report out, so that's it for tonight.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Councilor Height.
Yes, hello. So the Library Foundation also has made a commitment to the new project. I wanted to announce that. So they're going to fund a new account services desk. So there'll be the Friends funded the other desk, the circulation or reference desk here, but there's going to be an account services desk separately. And so I wanted to say thanks to the foundation. None of them are here tonight, but thanks to them for jumping in and helping with that. And it's going to be built by a local company called Spectrum Woodworking. So that's doubly cool. Yeah.
They're great.
And also the library lately has been weeding. They've been, there's about 13,000 items they've weeded, so removed from the collection so far. And the targeted items are those that are 10 years old or older and have outdated information. So they just need to out with the old, in with the new. That information that's more relevant now. So good for them. Big undertaking. And then this is kind of interesting. I see that there's going to be a new wrap for the couriers. You know how we put our items on hold and they go through the county? So each of those courier vans is going to have this cool wrap on it. Super colorful. Kids will be able to identify with it, adults too. But it almost looks like a bookmobile. So I'm just so pleased that those will be marked throughout the county. So you see this trucking along on the highway and you'll know that your holds are in there. So that's cool. I'm pleased about that. And the summer reading program is going on, but it ends August 10th, so pretty soon it's coming to an end. It's been quite successful, I think. Lots of different programs for adults, kids, teens, everyone, and yeah, the numbers will come in later about, how that goes, but it's been fun. My kids have done different things. The whole family went to this origami class, and it's just so hard for me, like, where am I supposed to fold? But my husband, rescued us, because he's very good with origami, so. Anyway, it was good that we did that as a family. School district-wise, not much going on, but the track was replaced recently. Apparently it's been 14 years since it went in, but it was beginning to delaminate, apparently, from the base, and so it was causing air bubbles and pockets, and it was deemed unsafe for the kids. So, in fact, I didn't realize this, but their home track meets had to be farmed out at neighboring schools this spring, actually. And so they're pleased that they're back on safe terrain now after this reparation, so that's good. CAT, there's a couple announcements. Canby Area Transit, they're going to have a shuttle from the fair during the week of the fair. So from Tuesday through Saturday, that will be available. And Tuesday through Friday, riders can catch it at Thriftway, at the Transit Center, Fred Meyer, or at the fairgrounds itself. So there's 3 locations that it will travel to and from. And then Saturday, there's an extra stop that'll be at the Vietnam Era Memorial. So there'll be 4 stops on the big Saturday day. So they've made that available a couple years now, and that's a nice service that they do. And also, the director of CAT wanted to ask me to make a reminder. You know, Dial-A-Ride is open to the public on an as-needed basis. So mostly their Dial-A-Ride customers are ADA customers. But if non-ADA customers need a lift now and then, they can call. It's actually 266-4022. First come, first served basis from 8 to 6. So I thought I'd make a public service announcement there to let people know that if you need to get around within our urban growth boundary, so City of Canby and then plus some, basically around the city limits, that can be available. Otherwise, Jamie Stickle hosted a debriefing after the Canby Independence Day, so a bunch of us brainstormed on what went well, what could be improved. It was really informational and really, I think it was a great brainstorming session. I was glad to be a part of that. And then the Kitty Caper Parade, you know, the Kiwanis has been putting this on for years. It's a kitty parade that goes on the day that the fair kicks off, so on that Tuesday, and the kids line up by night school, and they wear a little badge, and them and their parents can get in for free that day. So I just wanted to put out a note to that. You register at 9 a.m., it starts at 10. It's pretty good fun for the kids to parade through the town, and business owners get out there and wave. They end up at the fairground, and in they go. So if you want to have your kids, your neighborhoods involved with that, go for it. Pretty fun. And lastly, there's Canby School District. There's this partnering that's going on, Canby Telecom, Bridging Cultures, and I think Kiwanis too is doing the STEAM. It was actually on the Canby Herald this week. So STEAM, it's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Mr. Gingrich at Eccles is kicking off this pilot program, and he got all these partners involved. Pretty cool. 20 kids are involved. My daughter happens to be one. She loves it. So they're taking computers apart. They're reconstructing new computers. They're learning some basic programming. They're going to do some 3D imaging stuff. Amazing stuff. So I'm just so pleased at this great partnership. So thank you for all those partners for taking this on. And these kids are just delighted. It's different genders, ethnicities, and he's got them all, and he's having a great time 4 hours a day. So it's pretty intense.
Great.
Little kids, like kids going into 4th and 5th. So super exciting opportunity, I think.
New Tim Dales.
New crop.
Right. And I guess the Bridging Cultures, on that note, their last picnic of the summer anyway is August 13th at 11:30 at Locust Street Park. So a little plug for that too. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Great. Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Coleman.
Mr. Mayor, speaking of the chamber, next Tuesday is their annual or monthly lunch, and it's at the fairgrounds, and it's an awful lot of fun because they kind of get in the mood of the fair and rodeo, and it's 11:30 on Tuesday. It's a great event to attend. On the Canby Rodeo front, they've been working very hard to get the grounds in good shape, and one of the things I was just going to point out, if you go to the Clackamas County Events Center, their website's very user-friendly. You can see that Tuesday, the 16th, is Children's Day, Wednesday, Senior Citizens Day, and it just goes on through. So it's a really helpful guide, tells you what's going on.
Clint?
Yes, sir.
Rodeo tickets this year, reserve seating is all online, right?
I believe you can get all that online.
Okay.
And the fair ticket office is very informative if you have any questions on that as well. I also attended the debrief meeting of the 4th of July recap, and I just want to congratulate Jamie and everyone that worked on that. That was a wonderful event and just a lot of fun. On the Planning Commission front, I'd also just like to commend our planning director and staff and planning commissioners who have been working very, very hard, poring over all kinds of documents. And, you know, if you think about how much has gone on, if you just close your eyes for just a moment and you drive up the hill from Canby Ford, and on the right we've got the new Dutch Brothers, and there you've got the FOB tap room. The whole Safeway complex was purchased by another outfit that went in and put in new facade improvements. You've got Starbucks, AT&T, and the haircutting facility. You move your way on down to where the laundromat was, and in one of the recent Planning Commission meetings, Tom Scott gave a very elaborate presentation along with his architect, and they've got a beautiful building slated to go in there with expected 2 restaurant-type facilities and one with a drive-through, and then a non-restaurant type facility. And then you continue on down the way. You've got a brand new Fred Meyer gas station. You've got a series of new stoplights through town. There's just been an awful lot going on, and they've been working really hard, and we're just so fortunate to have such a good group that works so well together. And downtown, I'd just like to congratulate Parsons. They've been out there working really hard, painting the facility. I think last year there was a bad storm and they had to replace their awnings. So good job to Jeff getting that all tuned up.
And Jeff's doing that himself.
He is. He's been working really hard. And the backstop, my goodness, you can't say enough about how hard they work downtown. Just a lot of good things going on. On the traffic safety front, I just have to thank our city manager, Rick. He's just been tremendous in the support of our traffic safety efforts. Our police, especially Nolan Booth, our traffic safety officer in town, and the citizens' input and the whole group, just really dedicated group, really working hard to really trying to improve the livability and safety in and around town for citizens and bicyclists and joggers and just everyone. Also, just like to congratulate Eagle Elsner on their paving work. I think they've been doing a really good job around town, and that's really a big improvement. And then finally, I had a chance to go visit the police chief with the chair of traffic safety. And we just wanted to thank them for what they do in our community and how much they help our traffic safety efforts. And we really want to work together with them and try to find ways that our group can help their efforts and get the citizens involved as well. And I could go on, but let's see. Just a couple more things. Kind of try to keep up with you, Tracy. Behind the Fred Meyer, you'll notice they're moving a lot of dirt, and that's making way for the Sequoia apartments that'll be going in. And the McDonald's, since we last got together, is up and going strong. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We will now move into the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt the minutes of the July 6, 2016 City Council regular meeting, the minutes of the July 12, 2016 City Council special meeting, and appointment of Cameron Jones to the Canby Public Library Board for a term to end on June 30th, 2020.
Second.
Motion's been made by Council President Dale and seconded by Councilor Rocha to approve the consent agenda, which include the minutes of the July 6th, 2016 City Council regular meeting, the minutes of the July 12th, 2016 City Council special meeting, and appointment of Cameron Jones to the Canby Public Library Board for a term to end on June 30th, 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that carries 5-0. Next on our agenda this evening is a public hearing for a supplemental budget for the 2016-2017 fiscal year. I will quickly read through our format here for the public hearing. The matter presently before the hearing body requires a public hearing. All interested persons in attendance shall be heard on the matter. If you wish to testify on this matter, please fill out one of the yellow comment cards like these, and they're found over there by Mr. Bell, sitting over there. It's back there, Lauren. Perfect, thank you. Yes, and then give the yellow card to the city recorder. At the appropriate time, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and interest in the matter. Those people that are interested in testifying as either proponents or opponents, please indicate your desire to speak by raising your hands at this time. Not seeing any. For longer presentations, proponents and opponents may buy time from one another. In so doing, those either in favor or opposed may allocate their time to a spokesperson who will represent the entire group. All questions must be directed through the mayor. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access. All written testimony received both for and against shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff report. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. We will have the staff report, followed by questions, if any, by the hearing body or staff. I will then open the public hearing for testimony. Proponents, so those for, not more than 2 minutes, and opponents, not more than 2 minutes. I will close the public hearing. We'll have questions, again, if any, by the hearing body, and then discussion by the hearing body. A decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future. This will be the only notice of that date you will receive. Does anyone have any questions about the procedures of the hearing? No? Not seeing none? We will go to the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have for you an outline in your agenda packets, an outline of the proposed changes. I will note that that most of the changes that you see really relate to a budget that was established in the 15-16 fiscal year, for which the expenses are not actually going to occur until 2016-17. The specifics, and the largest one that you'll see in there is a $210,000 capital outlay in transit fund. Those are funds we'd initially budgeted in for the acquisition of the transit parking lot, and we'd expected that transaction to close by June 30th. However, it is finally nearing completion. We expect that we'll have it closed and those funds expended by the end of August. So we're getting close now to being able to complete that transaction. We also have a couple smaller changes that we're proposing, again, relating to either unexpected nominal expenses, or, as is the case with the library fund, funds that were received in the 2015-16 budget year in excess of what was anticipated and are being reallocated to the 2016-17 budget year to be expended on our library project by the librarian, and these are principally funds that were donations and contributions from the Friends of the Library. One other change that you'll see distributed equitably through all of the program areas is a modification to the estimate that we had made for our workers' comp charges in the 16-17 budget year. As you are undoubtedly aware, we always begin with an estimate and then we have to adjust to actual. So you'll see changes in virtually every fund within the city organization within which we have city employees. You can see a lot of small adjustments in there where we see personal services. Those relate to the increases associated with the work comp costs, which we don't have the exact number, but in the $6,500 range is the total of all changes to the workers' comp budget. Balance of the adjustments, as you see here, are relatively nominal and are principally just adjustments to address the disparity or difference between the estimates that we had posted as a part of the final budget and numbers as we've been able to refine them moving into the new fiscal year.
Great. Thank you, sir. Any questions at all?
Just one little one.
Yes, please.
Yeah. The economic development, the materials and services on page, I guess, 23 of the packet, 5,873. I'm just curious what that was. Do you see that, page 23? General fund, the budget summary.
Oh, this is a summary and adjustment for not just economic development, but several departments within this big list that is listed here. So the total of all of the materials and services adjustments to adjusting the estimated to actual is 5,873 and is distributed in some part. The state of Oregon requires in our reporting that we report by object, which And what we tried to do is give you a little bit greater breakdown than that, but the $5,873 really reflects the changes made in all of the budget units within the city's general fund for materials and services. And we didn't break those down specifically for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions at all? Okay. Then I will officially open up the public hearing for testimony. Is there anyone in favor that wants to speak? Great. Okay. Seeing none. Anyone against us adopting this? Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Any additional questions or discussion? No? Okay. Great. I will move on. Thank you, Rick. Next on the agenda is moving into resolutions and ordinances. Kim.
The first item we have is Resolution 1244. This is adopting a ground lease between the City of Canby and the Canby School District.
Thank you, Kim.
Once again, mine. Several months ago, I was approached by Trip Goodall, the school superintendent, about a question and concern that Trip had relative to the lease payment that the city was making for the lease of the property that has on it both the adult center and the swim center. After some conversation with Trip, we had agreed ultimately to an arrangement in which the city would waive its right to receive the fee that the schools traditionally paid to the swim center, and in exchange for that, the schools would not seek an additional increase to our annual lease payment. What that means is it's equivalent of about between a $10,000 and $11,000 increase in cost, and that increase in cost translates from budget purposes, to a reduction in revenue of that $10,000 to $11,000. It was a compromise solution between Trip and I, and we both feel that it reasonably accurately reflects the fair value of those leased properties that we have very great need for.
Okay. Our usual rehashing of those two properties, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is certainly not a new story. It's a discussion that's been before the council many times.
You know, for those of you here and at home, we have an interesting situation with the Canby School District in that the swimming pool and the Canby Adult Center buildings the city owns and operates and maintains, but the dirt under them is under the ownership of the school district. So we have to, I see chuckling in the crowd, that is true. That is an interesting dynamic that we have to revisit almost annually in terms of conversation and whatnot to redo the lease or work that out. So
it wasn't our idea.
No. This is,
we inherited.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that this is not something that
If we were to start over again, this isn't how we do it.
We actually drafted the amendment to the ground lease in such a way that the measurement criteria is the average of the payments made by the schools to the swim center for the periods 2010 through 2015. That's how we were able to determine the $10,000 to $11,000 range. And we have a reopener and right to adjust this number if, in the opinion of either party, the agreement as it is proposed to be amended is no longer equitable.
Okay. Very good.
Question.
Yes.
So, were we waiving the second grade swimming lessons for the last few years anyway with the school district, or no?
No, not to my knowledge.
Oh, we haven't. Okay, so this is a new. So it's swimming lessons and like swim team.
And swim team.
Those are the two.
Those are the two areas.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a. What was the agree? It was a less. It was a lesser lease piece on our end, and there was some horse trading in regards to some of that, but that I think ended a couple of years ago when we did that.
Yeah, it's an agreement that's more 4 or 5 times over its life, and and I can certainly understand Tripp's perspective that they want to receive fair market value for the underlying ground upon which our operations are placed, but at the same time, it does create a challenge for the city as we try to operate and deliver services to everybody who lives in this community. So I think this is a good compromise. I think it meets both of our needs.
Great. Good question.
Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I'd just like to say, Mayor, that on our list of things to do after we get everything else done, let's fix this.
Yeah.
I don't see this as being something that makes absolute sense, that I'd like us at some point to get into negotiations about buying that land.
Or coming up with an alternative.
Or picking up our swimming pool and moving it someplace else.
Hey, sometimes visionaries have to do crazy things, right? So, perfect. Well, I will take a motion to, if there's no other questions, a motion please to accept the resolution here.
Yeah, I move that we adopt Resolution 1244, adopting a ground lease between the City of Canby and the Canby School District Number 86.
Great. Thank you, Councilor.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Height and seconded by Councilor Coleman to approve Resolution 1244, adopting a ground lease between the City of Canby and the Canby School District Number 86. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That carries 5-0.
The next item we have is Resolution 1247. This is supporting the Clackamas County Motor Vehicle Fuel Tax.
Wonderful.
Yes, as most of us are aware now, the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners has been working for several months to try to identify and promote a mechanism that could generate revenue that would provide for funding to improve the roadways in the unincorporated areas. With ongoing discussions between cities and the county, it became, I think, apparent early in the process that excluding cities in the discussion really wasn't a good course of action. So ultimately, the recommendation coming out of the commissioners is, and the action that will be going forward as a ballot measure will be for an allocation of 60% of a 6-cent fuel tax would be allocated to counties, and 40% would be allocated to participating cities based on population. And I underscore participating cities because there are 2 conditions precedent to being a participating city. One is that you adopt a resolution of support for the ballot measure, and then the second is that the mayor sign an intergovernmental agreement that would define and designate the process under which the participation agreement would occur. And what the IGA does is it sets out the allocation methodology. It sets out that the cities can't participate unless they, in fact, do adopt the resolution and the intergovernmental agreement. And then it establishes the term of, actually the ballot measure establishes the term of the tax, the fuel tax, which is 7 years. But it sets forth all of those provisions, and if the City Council does not approve by September 1st both the resolution and the intergovernmental agreement, then based on the language in the resolution and the IGA, we would not be able to participate in the allocation of the fuel tax proceeds if it does pass with voter approval in November. Staff support is that you, in fact, do adopt the resolution and that the mayor sign the intergovernmental agreement.
Go ahead. No? You guys first. Questions? Comments?
Rick, just to point out for the public, the city council is not given the option to opt its citizens out of the 40% of the tax. It's an all or nothing deal.
It is.
And if we do not agree to support and sign the IGA, then the tax that our citizens pay will be distributed to other cities or kept by the county.
Yes.
In the event that it actually passes.
If the measure passes.
If the measure
passes.
Yeah, and so it's essentially an all or nothing initiative. You either are a participant and supporter, and then if the measure passes, then you can receive your proportional share of 40%, or you're not, and if the measure passes, we would still be a financial supporter by paying at the pump, but would not receive the financial benefit.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
No, please,
Oh, okay.
go ahead.
Okay.
I can wait.
Okay.
Though
So
I'm drawing blood on my tongue. I'm just going to share that right now.
The 40%, it's in here somewhere. How much would that generate for us in Canby? Like 10,000 or something?
No,
Where was it?
it's actually in the,
Somewhere in this.
I read it not too long ago, and I think we put it in here.
282,000.
Okay.
Over 7 years.
It's
Over 7 years. How much? 282. Over 7 years.
Sort of a-
Right, not each year, but over the 7 years, it'd be 282.
And that's based on an estimate of population. The population factors would be adjusted each year based on a reanalysis of growth within each city.
To be spent on our, which...
Our transportation infrastructure
Okay,
needs.
within our city limits.
Within the city limits.
And they take care of anything outside the city limits. Okay. Okay.
And those few roads that happen to be county-owned within our city.
They're not on the list.
That's not on the list. No.
They could
That's,
if they
It's not
chose,
on
but
our
they're choosing
list.
not.
no, it's not on the county's list to take care of.
okay.
That's bone of contention number one for me.
Okay.
So, any other?
I thought they were your pals on the county commission. You couldn't pull that one off?
Sure, I'm friendly with them. I'm allowed to disagree with them. You know.
Well, I think, we're in a situation where we need to have our roads improved. We need to fix the roads in the county. And we need to find a funding instrument to get the... if you think the idea of us having a building on land we don't own is stupid, how about the crappiest